Okay, my name is Chibuike Utaka. I work as a content producer.
Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi A14, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started into this episode.
I make content for broadcast outfits. I also train media professionals like journalists. But then my specific area of work is in the area of media for development. That's development communication, what people often regard as development communication. That is using media for good, using media for creating awareness, behavior change, informing people on several developmental issues. Media, basically using media to touch lives across Nigeria and then Africa generally, where I've worked for some time now. So that's me.
Thank you so much, there, Chibuike. But that is a very beautiful name to start with. Do you want to say anything about what is the significance of Chibuike?
Chibuike. So the name. First of all, I love traditional African names. So the
Thank you for
name,
that.
name is so the name is an Igbo name. Igbo is one of the major tribes in Nigeria. The southeastern part of Nigeria speak Igbo. So Chibuike is an Igbo name, which means God is my strength. So it's actually the full meaning is Chukwu became Chibuike. So God is my strength. So that's the
That
meaning
is
of
so
it.
beautiful. You see, there's a lot of significance around African names, and it's so
Definitely.
beautiful. Somebody
Yes,
just hear the Chibuike, you wouldn't know the idea behind it, the beauty behind it. That is powerful.
I'm telling you, and that's actually why I choose to use my Igbo name anywhere I am, anywhere I go to. I bear my Igbo name because it's actually significant, and there's a proverb in my part of Nigeria that names follow people, and truly that name follows me. So that's it.
That's beautiful. All right. Now, because we love Africa, we love who we are, we love where we are coming from. And okay, yeah, we are Nigerians. We also love our country. Why not?
Sure, true, sure, perfectly, absolutely.
All right. So, Chibuike, you're going to tell me, where were you born? Were you born in Lagos or in Abuja? Or, yeah, tell me about that.
Okay, so I was born in the farthest part of Nigeria, the Sokoto State. So Nigeria, if you see Nigeria map, the top left end of Nigeria is where you find Sokoto State, with border to other countries like Niger. So that was where I was born actually. That was where some of my siblings were also born.
So, your father migrated from where to Chibuike to
Yeah,
Sokoto
so
State?
from Enugu all the way to Sokoto State, and lived there for a whole for a long period of time. Worked there, and then gave birth to some of us there.
That's interesting. That is the country. That is our country.
True.
Of course,
true.
we can live wherever we are. We are the Nigerians.
Exactly. We still carry the spirit wherever we are.
Absolutely.
The Nigerian
Absolutely.
spirit. So
Thank you so much.
thank you.
I'm going to pull your legs a little bit.
Yo, please
So
feel free.
so you grew up in Sokoto State, in Sokoto, or do you also grow up in Enugu State?
Okay,
That is a
so
coast city.
yes, the coast city, very exactly. So how would I describe it? So I often in my house, my family, sometimes my elder sisters would want to, especially when I was growing up. So they want to talk so that I won't hear. They would speak Hausa, and I continue to lament on the injustice simply because they were born and they grew up there. They went to school there, so they could speak. Different versions of Hausa dialects of Hausa, actually, not even the central Hausa. And Sokoto is like the heart of somehow the heart of the Hausa. And then I was born, but just before I could start learning to speak, my father migrated again. so, so I didn't get the opportunity of learning to speak Hausa at that early age. And then he went back to Enugu for job purposes, actually. So I partly grew up in Sokoto and Enugu.
That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting. All right. So today we're going to be talking about internship.
Yes.
And we're also going to be talking about your area of concentration, which is journalism, media production, and things like that.
Yeah.
First, give me a kind of a background of how media works in Abuja. You're in Abuja. That is the capital territory of Nigeria.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, okay. So, media generally, if you talk about media landscape in Nigeria, talk generally, it doesn't. I'm not sure media works differently from Abuja and other parts of Nigeria. So, my area of work basically, I use media for good. Like I said, I use media. I create media content that are targeted towards improving or touching or impacting the lives of people across Nigeria. So that's basically what I do. So I do not do the regular kind of media people do, or what people know as news media. So I basically make contents targeted at particular ends. For instance, in 2021, I was awarded for my content as the best piece of journalism for the radio content I made during the COVID-19 lockdowns and all that. So I created content at the time people were locked down and people were in the confusion of as to what has happened with respect to COVID-19. So the content I made that time, some people thought it was impactful and gave an award for it. So those are the kind of contents that I make. Contents that point towards a particular developmental need. And that is it. So how the media works is basically, that's how I use the media in my role.
All right, thank you for that. Now, how easy is it to access the information you will use to create your media production in Nigeria? Okay, I understand that now there is internet, it becomes a little bit more easier. So anyway, but of course, I want to hear from you. How easy is it for you to access some information? Okay, it depends. You can drag this line to any angle that we like, because there is, we're talking about also free media. We're talking about the freedom of media. We can talk about the accessibility of some information, both sensitive and not sensitive. So you tell me, how easy is it for you to access information you will need to be able to create your media product, your media content?
Okay, so first of all, from the audience point of view, Nigerian media landscape is large. Is large and is developing, and is a very huge market in the sense that you now even have the social media with a whole lot of people using it, in addition to the traditional media like the radio and television. Access to information, well, is not different from other places across the world. It depends on where you are. It depends on the kind of content you are making and who you are making the contents for. So the kind of programs that I make, because they are people-centered, it's easier for me to get content. And I make a lot of contents that are huge on human angle stories. For instance, if there's no water in a particular place and we go to that place to make content, I want to hear from people about their stories or how they are getting water. If there's no health facility in a particular place, I want to hear from the people their stories about getting. So personally, because of the kind of work that I do not think accessing information is so difficult for me, because people willingly want to talk. Then when you are I also do governance programs where I hold people to account, where I hold authorities to account. That's a different ball game. It's as it is every other place. I mean, holding authorities to account is a primary duty of journalism and journalists. But then again, whether it's easy to do, you see, I would just basically say that it's a work in progress. It's not the easiest part of journalism to do, but yes, there are ways also to go about them.
All right, there are ways to go about it. I want to believe that that is part of the training that people need to undergo. And of course, here we are going to be talking about also internship, training, getting knowledge, because you cannot just jump into those things and begin to do it. You are going to shoot yourself in the foot.
True.
So tell me about the training, how to be able to master this skill.
Okay, so now, in the media in Nigeria, we have is a very big area right now. A whole lot of people are doing journalism and media and all that. But I always encourage the people that I train to basically find that particular specific area of journalism that first of all, you have passion for, and two, it meets your career goals as well, and then find a way to get the requisite skills that you need to get to where you want to get. And that's where we come to basically talking about internships. So for me, I've done broadcast media. I've done a couple of things in the media, but then I decided that, okay, the area that I have passion for is doing media for development, and then encouraging other people, also building capacity of other people to also do better media productions and content productions. So that's me. And then I started learning along that line. I started working with people who are doing things in those areas, and that was how I get to the level where I am right now in the industry. So perhaps in the course of the conversation, I'll be able to also shed more light on my journey.
All right, that's very important. In fact, we are here for your journey. We are here to learn from you. But because you did make mention of internship, I want to believe that there is one or two persons out there who do not understand what is meant. Can you give us a background on what is meant by internship, or maybe in your area, media production?
Okay, so basically when we talk about internship, we are talking about the on-the-job training, hands-on training, practical training that you get in an area where you want to pursue your career in. So let me take a bit of my story. So when I finished from the high school, secondary school, we call it here, I had like a 1 year where 1 year gap before I got admission into the university. And I just thought to myself, what am I going to be doing with this 1 year? I can't be sitting at home waiting for admissions to get into the higher institutions. So what do? I basically had this inquisitive mind. So for every new station that came into the city where I was, I would basically go for auditions. I want to work with them. I want to work with a particular program on those stations. I want to join what they are doing. And most of the time I tell them, I don't need to be paid. Just allow me to work with this team. I like the way XYZ person, does his or her shows. I like the way this station basically operates. I just want to be part of this train. I did a couple, and I happened to meet a particular young man who was at the time running a private media outfit consultancy. And he said, okay, no problem, join us we're going to be doing some documentary shooting. Maybe you can just tag along. I said, fine, no problem. So every morning I will hop into their bus, their location bus, join them into the villages where they were doing documentaries of some village issues. I did that for 1 week. There wasn't pay. The only thing is that I would have lunch with them in the village, and then when they come back, they drop me off, and then I'll go. I'll be happy. I'll be happy that at least I was doing something. they doing on location. I would help them hold the boom mic. I would watch the camera people. I would basically do anything, support any support set up and all that. So after a while, when they finished the shooting, they came back to the office, and I approached the same man to say, okay, I'm waiting for my admission for university, but I think if you allow me, I would want to just come around and watch the editors, the video editors, do their work, of editing those documentaries. And he said, okay, no problem. So I came. I have been hanging around. So every morning I would have my bath from my house, go to that particular office, stay there, just be sitting down, watching the video editors, admiring what they were doing with the editing tools and all that. I did that for close to a month. And then inside that particular office, they had other departments where they were working on radio programs and all that. So for about a month, one of the ladies who was supposed to go for a radio show couldn't show up. Something happened and she couldn't show up. And the radio show was a live show, and it was going to go on air about 1 p.m. And they only got to know around 12 that she wasn't going to show up. And the man turned around and said, do you know what? I don't know, maybe just find a way. You are the only person now who is free, who can work on this radio program. See what you can do, but this program cannot fail. Because I've been observing the lady, writing scripts and all that, asking her questions all the time, or along the line and all that. So I basically brought out the script, the program idea, did this scripting and all that, and then went on air to do something and called the guests we were supposed to have. And that was how I did the show. The first day, came back, the man was listening, and he listened, and he didn't believe that, okay, it was the small boy that was always coming to the office that, produced the show. So when he came back to the office, he asked if the lady actually turned up. And they said, no, I was the one who did it. So he was shocked. And I said, okay, no problem. So the week after, the lady who was supposed to make the show and now happened to even travel, that I think the husband, they were trying to relocate or something like that. So, and she wasn't going to show up. And it was a free switch. The man basically said, you know what, you have done this, you did this in last week. Just go ahead and do this program. I did. The second time after doing the program, I came back. And one day he called me in the office and said, do you know what, we've been working on this. We've been coming here for over a month now. I think we should just call it something. Let's call it something. I'm going to put you on a salary, basically, so that you can now have your job description and start to work. So that was how my role changed from the person who watched the editors do their editing to basically any salary. How much was my salary? My first salary was 15,000 naira. So, and I started working. I was happy with my 15,000 naira. But the greater joy was the fact that I could do something I loved and admired all along to do. And that was my journey. That was how I started. Started gaining trainings on the job. So automatically working on the radio program made it crucial for me that I have to learn the editing softwares. And then people started teaching me how to edit, and started teaching me how to actually do proper scripting and all those kind of things. And before you know it, that was it. That was how I started.
That's very important. That is so powerful, this story, though. The fact that you believe in something that you really wanted to do. You didn't know how to do it yet, but you were focused and you were going there. They weren't paying you, but you were going there. You see,
every day. Every day.
That is to say that even though what you are looking for is not in front of you, you're going to be ready. I mean, even though the opportunity is not yet there, you're going to be ready now, because one day the opportunity will be there. But when you are not ready, it will just pass by.
It will just pass by, exactly. In fact, my friends, I had friends then who would always, make a joke of me, asking, where are you going? Every morning you are going. You should be resting. You just finished from school. You should have, take a break, rest before you get into the university, and then the struggle continues. And I'm like, I can't wake up and sit down at home or wake up and don't do anything. So, okay, what are you making from this place where you're going? Nothing. I did it for a long period of time, no salaries, nothing. I was actually spending, in fact, most of the time, I would trek to the office because I was at home. I wouldn't afford the transport fare to, go to the place. So I would trek. Sometimes I would take a bus to the office, and then when the office closed, I would trek back. Of course, I wasn't rushing to meet anything. So whatever time I got back to my house, and that was it. So yeah, that was it.
All right. Now, to the people that are listening to us, particularly to maybe the younger people, there is a lesson that they must get from here. That when you need something, you're really going to go for it. You
True.
know, the manna will not fall from heaven. I don't know if it ever did one time, but it is never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to go for it. All right. Now, looking at
Definitely.
it like this, looking at the people that are going to acquire the skills to be able to do their things, which is actually the skill that is required today, because this is the age now that is dominated with technology. The way that film and video used to be edited in the past, maybe some of them are changing now because there is AI, there are a lot of
Very
things.
well.
So tell me, to a young person who wants to get into media production today, what do this person need to learn in terms of the skills?
Okay, so I on a daily basis, people approach me to say, "Oh, do you know someone who can do social media very well? We have a space." And then you look around you, you will not be able to find someone who can actually fit into that. But then, come to think of it, every one of us, we have Facebook accounts, we have Instagram accounts, we have TikTok and all that. But how many people actually would bend down to say, okay, this Instagram or Facebook that I have, let me put conscious effort into learning how to use it beyond communication, to actually use it to my advantage. Let me develop a skill around it and go online. There are a whole lot of free trainings, free skills, on social media, digital marketing, and all that online that you can learn. So they see day in, day out, month in, year out, people stay on their accounts, post. I'm not saying it's wrong to post your beautiful pictures and all that, but then that's all you do, and the opportunity is passing by. That's a very big skill to acquire. How to do social media professionally, how to use social media to make money. Because there are plenty other people, there are plenty radio stations around town who do not have social media presence, simply because they are looking for someone who has that skill set to fit in. And then one other thing, like I always tell young people around me, you see, don't don't stick to one particular skill. Diversify, especially if you're in the media. The media is a very broad, very wide area. So there are a whole lot of skills that you can acquire and wait for that opportunity where one of them could click. You are a presenter. Do you know how to edit videos? Do you know how to edit audio? Do you know how to handle the camera, video camera? Do you know how to even handle small, in fact, your phone cameras? Can you shoot a professional photograph from your phone or with your phone? Do you get? So those are small skills that you can have and keep handy, and you never can tell where they are going to be useful to you. One example, when I was in school, my roommates in school told me a story of how he got a job. So he went for a job interview as a student. Every other person had interviewed for that role. And what the interviewer asked him was that, okay, every other person that I've spoken to actually can do this job. But what is that one thing that you think you can bring to this organization apart from this particular role? And the young man told him that told the interviewer that he can also play musical instruments. So that's one thing that he loves to do. And the man said, okay, what kind of musical instruments can you play? He said, well, it depends on what you have. That's because the guy that I know could play 5 different musical instruments. The man now the interviewer went inside and brought a guitar and said, this guitar, has been lying down here. I've not been able to find anything to do with it since I bought it. And the young man collected the guitar, cleaned it. It was dusty, cleaned it, and they realized that there wasn't that pin, the pin they could use to play the guitar. You get? And the interviewer was like, "Oh, well, I never even knew that was supposed to be a pin." And what my roommate did was to bring out his wallet and brought out the pin for the guitar and started playing. And that was how he got the job. What's the story behind this? Not only was it that he could play different instruments, he was also prepared, and he proved himself that he could play it because he was moving around with the guitar pin. Do you get?
That's a powerful story.
Yes. So the man was, I mean, the interviewer wasn't in doubt as to what he was saying. He saw it practically that this guy was prepared and also passionate about the other things that he could do. So that is it. So diversify your skills and pick any skills along the line, and do not think that any one of them is a waste, because you do not know where it's going to come handy. Like myself, when I was asked to produce the radio program, it was because it was actually in the TV studio that I was supposed to be, but because I was going to the radio section as well to look at how the lady was doing the script, that was why when the opportunity came for the radio, I was able to switch in. You get? So, and that's how this whole thing about internship and getting skills work, and that's what I think young people should do. Do not think that any particular one is a waste. Do not think that any particular skill is a waste. And one important thing, Obehi, there's this thing around our young people today when they say you are just starting. You don't even have the skills. Even when you have the skills, you still need to start from somewhere. But then you put money first. I'm not saying you should not understand your values in terms of money, but then you put money first. You want to work. You want to acquire experience in a radio station. But then you want to say that they have to start you on a salary of 1 million. You have not even started working. You've not even worked in those kind of places before. What I advise is that you look for places you have opportunities to grow, places you have opportunities to learn. Another particular story, if you allow me to go on.
Yeah. Go.
Great. So one particular story, personal story about myself. When I tell this story, some people say it's not true. Is that I worked in a particular place. Everybody was asking me, what are you still doing here? They are not paying you salary and you are still here. What is it that you are looking for? You get? But I stayed there for years. Years. And when I mean years, I really mean working for years without getting salaries. So every month, people calculate payday. I didn't, because I knew from January to December, I would not be paid, because there's no binding contract for me to be paid. Maybe once in a while, the manager could come out to say, okay, take this 10,000 naira, I'll take this 5,000 naira to add to your transport fare. But why did I stay on? I stayed on for more than 4 years simply because everything that happened around me for every single day was challenging in the kind of career and the kind of job I wanted to do at the time. Everything they did every day opened up an opportunity for me to learn. In that particular place, that was where I saw the music, a music studio for the first time, and how a music studio operated. In fact, I went on to manage a music recording studio. It was in that place that I saw how to use different kinds of cameras, still cameras, video cameras, and even how people were trained on how to use those cameras. It was in that place that I saw different editing softwares and how to edit on those softwares, and I stayed on. Fast forward 4 years after, the next 4 years I was going to do some work in a particular, another place. I basically used all the skills I gained for the last 4 years none other improved to work in those places. And I made my salary for the 4 years over and over again.
That's life. That's life.
Yeah.
But you were preparing for the real thing.
So exactly. So that's how this whole thing about internship works. So I took that period as a period of my internship. It was tough, it was difficult, but then again, I was gaining skills. And skills are one of the are those things that when you get them, nobody takes them away from you. They live with you forever, for as long as you want to use them. So even if you resign from a job, nobody takes the skills that you gotten from that job. So you move on and use the skills to earn money elsewhere. With respect to internships, basically, it's based on what the individual wants. It's based on what your passion is. Um, First of all, you have to step back and ask yourself, what is it I enjoy doing? What is it that I want to do? Or where is it that I want to build my career path on? So if you have identified that, you could now begin to now look out for, okay, who is the person who is doing this thing that I want to do, that I can understudy? Or where is the place, like what company is it that I know they are into this particular thing that I have passion to do, that you can go and understudy? And those are just the practical processes I can do. And it doesn't take anything, just take out a pen and list them out. For example, if it's the media, you could ask yourself, okay, I want to be a presenter of a show. I love presentation. And then you begin to search for, okay, who is that presenter that I admire so much on air that I can be able to understudy? Or where is that media house that I love the way their presenters work, or present their programs, that you'll be able to approach to say, okay, I want to work here because I have interest in presentation. I basically want to know if I can learn or improve my skills in presentation here as an intern. And you can start off like that. I know a whole lot of people who started working that way. That way, you'll be able to now learn on the job, learn from someone that you admire who could be like a role model, and then also work in an environment where interns are, internship opportunities are respected, and someone would basically dedicate time to say, okay, I know that this person is learning. Let me give a bit of my knowledge to the person. And I've been around places where I've worked. In fact, I worked in a particular place where everyone that I had to work with started we started basically with inexperienced hands. But by the time they were leaving, all of them right now, they are very, very great guys doing great things wherever they are, in different places where they are now. So the model for that particular organization was basically get people who are in the school, but they are passionate about pursuing media and getting media skills. They would come from their schools, close from schools, come to work, and then go back to school. During holidays, they will come and work. Some of them started as drama artists. Some of them as actors. Some of them started with handling cameras. Some of them started with handling microphones and all those kind of things. And before you know it, we had a whole lot of young people in the company who have specialized in different areas. And part of the task they were given at that time, this is a long time ago anyways, was basically, okay, create some program. Just create any program and let's go and test the program on air. Let's give to a particular media outfit to play to see if they liked it. I remember at the time there was one particular new station that came into town, and those young ladies and guys had about 3 programs on that particular media house. They thought of the program ideas, they created it, they worked on it, and they had the task of every week make sure you come up with a new program. And we just gave the program as just a giveaway to the new station to add to their content, and it worked perfectly well. And right now, today, I could call any one of them, and they are doing well wherever they are. Some of them are working in radio stations, some are working in TV stations, some are doing their private freelance work but they have gotten that experience. So that's what I think young people can do in terms of learning. Identify your passion, identify your career path, and then begin to identify the person or places where you have the opportunity to learn those skills.
In terms of, say, the role of media, say, in the society, looking at the Nigerian society, what would you say about that?
So in Nigeria, like every other place, the media play a whole lot of roles. Reason is that there's nothing actually. I think it was during the World Radio Day last year that I basically put up on my post to say, okay, imagine a day in a country without the radio, without the television, without the social media, just shut down everything. How would it be? Everybody started saying, oh, would that be like, going to the dark ages and all that. So that's how it is. That's to basically point out the kind of role the media play. Talk in the area of health, is the COVID-19 came, everybody was running around trying to understand what's happening. It was the people in the media, that stepped in and started trying to make sense of what's going on, and they started breaking down the information to other people and for the people to understand. Think about where you have wars. It's still the media that will be able to direct the narratives. Think about where you want to hold government to account. It's still the media. Once anything goes viral, for instance, on social media or regular media, the authorities responsible will begin to react. So that's how it is. So you can never underestimate the role of media in a developing country, and even in developed countries on a daily basis.
I'm interested in the possibility that somebody that is creating content can also make money from it, make a living doing it. So if somebody were to, of course, I understand you already talked about a career path just now, which of course is actually what we are talking about here. So in terms of money, the possibility of making money from content creation in Nigeria, what would you say as a kind of opportunity that is available for people to tap into?
So it's also a huge market. Like I mentioned earlier, it is a huge market in the sense that you have the population. How many people are on social media in Nigeria? A huge percentage of the population is on social media. How many people listen to radio? A whole lot of people listen to radio because radio is still the widest in terms of coverage. And when you look at those things, you now begin to ask yourself, okay, what can I do? Some people, even young people, make their money much more than someone in the civil service, or much more than someone doing a regular 9 to 5 job. Basically, sitting down in their houses and creating content online on social media. In Nigeria right now, the comedy skits, they are like everywhere. And those are people, young people, some of them young people, they use their creativity, develop comedy skits, put them online and get the traction. And advertisers would go, manufacturers and marketers will go to them to place adverts, and they are making their money. So that's an opportunity. It's a very huge opportunity, and young people can see it readily. You see millionaires made from the platforms, social media platforms like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. That's an opportunity. Regular traditional media also is an opportunity. People create different contents on air and become popular from those contents, and make a living from them. People make movies today, and they become big movies, and they make money from there also. So it's a whole lot of it's a very wide range of industry where you can basically find, like I said, find that particular place where you can create your own career path and then focus on it, and then begin to look for how to monetize it and make money as well.
What about the tools that people might need? Because now you are going to be creating content. Each of them require its own set of tools, though. There are those who are writing blog. The material that you need, the tools that you need to be able to write successful blog is different from the one who is maybe doing radio broadcasting or maybe podcasting or video making and the rest of it. So in terms of accessibility to some of these tools in the Nigerian market or in the African market, let's put it at a larger scale. What would you say to that?
Okay, there's something I believe in. The tools are not as important as it's not so much of importance as the person who is using the tools. Is the skills, basically. So the skills that you have, I would want to rate higher than the tools. I'm not saying that the tools are not good. So you find that some people are using phones that truly, when you ask them or when you check what they are using those phones for, you discover that they are not actually using up to 40% of the capacity or of the usefulness of the phones. There are some phones that we have right now that you can use to shoot your mini documentaries. You can use to shoot any kind of professional photograph you want to take for social media or for anything. And you see people carrying those phones and they are still telling you that they don't have a camera. They don't have the big cameras to shoot. They don't have the professional cameras to take good pictures or to take good videos. What do you call that? Those are tools. In fact, journalism and content making, there's even this shift now from the bulky part of, I think I started with a Nikon D90 or so, was the stick camera I used. But right now, I have my phone. I don't need, it would be on exceptional cases for me to want to require a camera to shoot something apart from my phone. In my small backpack, I have my tripod. I have different things there. I have my external microphone for the phones. So the industry is moving towards mobile journalism or mobile content creation than the usual big tools that we know. Around that time, you would set up your track mat, put your dollies, put everything, set up one big set. Yes, you can still do that depending on the production. But for the little content that you can create and make money from, you really do not require a very big set of equipment to start up. You can start small, start with something that you have handy, and then begin to grow.
With many people that I'm interviewing here, apart from the fact that the quality actually is better from the phone compared to maybe if I were to be doing an interview with a person now, maybe I'm using Skype or Zoom. Okay, I preferably I use Skype because I get better quality from there. When people connect with their computer, the quality that I get is less compared to maybe when they connect with the phone. Which is to say that the phone actually is very, very powerful now because the camera that is designed on the phone is higher, the pixel is higher than the camera that is on your regular webcam, which is what you are going to see. I said maybe it may be your case now, you are in the studio environment, that might be different, no? But most people are not in the studio environment. And the people that I'm talking with, most of the cases, they're not in studio environment, they're not professional. They're just regular people who want to, of course, share their story. In this case, the tool that they're having in their hand, the telephone, is actually everything that you really need at the end of the day. So, yeah, I agree with you.
And let me give you, even mine is an example. So the quality that I have of my videos, because I'm using a laptop. Reason is that I'm not, where I'm sitting, I'm not able to use my phone. I would have preferred my phone. On a normal day, I would prefer to use my phone because the quality would have been better than this. So that's a typical example. So even with right now, in fact, I cannot even remember the last time I used my laptop to do a video call.
It's true. Which is just to say that this thing that you are having in your hand,
everything you need.
That is all you need.
Yes. Yes. It's everything you need. It's about, do you know how to use it? And that's the skill we are talking about. You can sit around someone now and the person tells you the kind of functions that you have on your phones, the kind of things that you can do with your phone, and you'll be like, wow, I didn't know. Little softwares you can download on your phones that will be, wow, okay, I can record audio with my phones, I can record video with my phones, I can shoot photographs with my phones. What else do you need? And you can also edit them on your phones. So what else do you need? Anything mobile, compact, portable devices.
You nearly there. That is actually. Oh, sorry. That's actually the point. At the end of the day, that in Africa, in Nigeria, we will complain that we don't have all the tools to be able to create content. But I usually say, if you have the phone to stay on Facebook all day long, meaning you have access to the same information that we are talking about. Sure. If you can access Google to type information to, or where you are going to watch the next gossip video, it means you can actually go to Google to type, or go to Coursera, for example. Or where you can learn for free, learn about how to do editing with your video. Sure. So it's just a question of, what do you spend your time on? What do you use your tool for? Because the tools you have at the time, you have it. Because you don't have, they say, okay, to have airtime is very expensive. But that is the airtime you use to stay on Facebook and YouTube to watch everything you want to watch now. So you can as well use that one to improve yourself.
So exactly. So that's the point. You check, okay, there some phones will give you an estimate of what you do or what you have done on your phone per day, something like that. And you see sometimes 70% of the time you have spent on social media. 10% of the time you spent on the column that they say productivity, like we're basically doing actual work with your phone. And you ask yourself, so what do I do? What have I been doing with my phone? You get? Yes, you could spend 70% of the time on social media, but then that's also the question, what am I doing on social media when I'm there? Am I clicking away? So for every click on social media, on someone's posts, you're actually giving the person money somehow. So some of these celebrities, the big comedy skits and all that, the more you click, watch, the more money they make, because
Absolutely.
they are going to tell the marketers that, oh, see, this is the number of people who have clicked on this product that I placed on my platform, and they will give you more money. And you are there clicking away for 5 hours. Ask yourself, how can I also put something that someone can click and click money for me too? And that's the question. And you don't really need to do very high-tech things to do that. The same way you post a beautiful picture and people like it, yeah, it's the same way you can post a beautiful picture of a nicely made materials, and someone will like it and get money for the tailor. Do you understand?
Yeah. Right.
So basically, it's about being deliberate. What am I doing on social media? What is it that how am I converting the likes to money, and be deliberate about it? That's basically it.
All right. So that sounds to me like you are talking about mindset now. So in that the way we think relating to the environment around us, sometimes it have effect on what we actually come out with at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. So mindset is everything. It's not just about content creation. It's even about everything you do in life. Some people could stay at home and tell you there's no job, I don't have a job, and they are at home, and they would watch someone wake up in the morning, get dressed, go out there, and go and learn a skill. And from January to June, they are still saying they haven't found work. January to December, they still haven't found work. And someone who said, okay, let me go and learn how to sew a cloth, for instance, have spent 6 months learning. By the time he started 6 months in January, you say, a whole 6 months you are going to spend on learning this thing. But then you are still at home, you have not done anything, and 6 months have come and gone. So the same thing with content creation. So everything comes from the heart, from the mind. What is it that you want to do? And how have you thought it through? Okay, I'm going to go to someone that I admire so much to say, I want to learn. Just let me follow you around Just let me stay around you all day, all weeks, months. I just want to understand how you do this thing that you are doing. That's mindset. It might be difficult for some people, but the person who is purposeful, who has made up his mind that this is what I want because I know where I'm going to, will basically find it easy at the end of the day because he will benefit eventually from it. So yes, so that's the same way it works everywhere. Make up your mind what you want to do, make up your mind what you want to learn and how you want to go about it, and begin to work on it. And even
All right.
and even creativity. Sorry to just chip in. Even creativity. If you don't have the positive mindset of towards something, your creativity will not even flow in content creation. So you can't even think very well. This is where the money is, and all that.
Thank you for that. Now, I understand that you do some training, you train people, no? Do you want to say anything about that, how you go about it, even in your business, yes?
Okay, so all my life, starting up, I've worked with young people. So my training started even from my early years in the industry because I was trained also by some people. So I basically grew into this passion of also training young people and younger people also in the industry. So I've been basically like doing trainings here and there. But currently, my current role requires that I also not just make contents, I also train broadcasters and train journalists to make contents on social media, contents on radio, contents on TV. So that's basically part of my work. So I don't just create content right now. I also train practitioners on how to make content, and that's like my regular day job.
All right. Can you tell me how you embark on this training program, this process? Is it like you go there to meet them physically? Is it something you do virtually, online? Tell me more about it. How does it go with you and your students?
Trainings could happen anyhow, anywhere, in whatever form that is beneficial to the person who is being trained. The most important thing is if the person who is being trained has gotten the knowledge. So it could be remote, it could be physical, it could be in a group of people depending on how it is designed. It could be a one-on-one thing. So, and in all that, I've tried different methods. So I've trained a couple of people online. I've also trained a couple of people in groups. I go to them and do the trainings, or they come to me to do the trainings. I've also done one-on-one trainings. And then mentoring is also part of the training. You train, you also go ahead and continue to support people. Here and there, people would call you. Even on LinkedIn, people would reach out to me to say, okay, I'm working on this thing. Please, I've seen your CV or your profile on LinkedIn. I know you have done this before. Could you please give me an idea of how to approach this? And that's it. Those are kind of things that you also do to train people and give them requisite skills and experience they need.
All right. Now, but say somebody want to connect with you, want to benefit from your training program. How can this person reach you? In essence, what I'm telling you is that we know that you value your time. I want you to use this moment to advertise what you do, how people can connect with you, how people can benefit from your service.
Okay, so we are here in the industry to support each other. I'm on social media everywhere with my name, Chibuike Utaka, on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and a couple of people also, especially colleagues in the industry, on a dailies, they basically ask for support, assistance, and anything. And we are here to help each other, and that's what we do. And I'm willing, for as long as time permits me, to also support people to do what they are doing better. And that's my personal passion. And friends, connections, networks can also feel free to benefit from that, for us to exchange ideas also on what we are doing. And that's fine. On LinkedIn, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm very active on Facebook. I'm very active on Twitter as well, on Instagram. And my name is still the same, anywhere you search me up with Chibuike Utaka, that's you'll find me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chibuike. All right, now what would be your final thought here regarding internship, learning of skills to be able to improve your content creation?
My final advice here, and thank you, Obehi, for having me here. The final advice is that, you see, skill development is key to anything you are going to ever do, anything you are going to ever be, especially in the industry where I am, like media industry. Things are moving very fast. Things are changing. So the skills that you have actually sets you up, set you apart from the rest, from the crowd. So an internship has proven a very good way to getting these skills. And what does it simply mean? Find what you want to learn, find someone who does that, or a place, a company, organization where you know that you can gain experience or gain hands-on-the-job training, and approach them. It might not necessarily be paid. Some people pay, but it might not necessarily be a paid, internship. You go there, spend some time, learn while you are working on the job, and you will find out that those skills will forever live with you. Those experiences will forever count, and those things go into your CV. For whichever one you've done, you put it in your CV. So you can never. This is like a cheat here. The fastest and the most assured way to gaining the skills that you need is actually through internships.
All right. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it
for having me. I appreciate this.
Thank you. If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewanfo. Thank you so much for listening, and talk to you in the next episode.